Hey guys, this is Mauisnake, and today I wanted to share with you guys my philosophy and bring some of my ideas to you guys about how to use tactical pauses in a league match. So, this is for online leagues, it was specifically ESEA. I haven't played any of the major LANs or anything where you get to do those cool 30-second pauses for commercial breaks or whatever they do. So, in ESEA, you get two 5-minute pauses per game, a total of 10-minute pauses. And you can use them however you want to. For technical reasons or tactical reasons, you get two pauses, though. So, what I like to use pauses for, tactically speaking, is that it's when I'm losing. I'm not going to pause after winning a round, because that's just kind of like bad mannering the other team, BMing them. And you don't really want to do that, one, because it might stir them up and they might play with some newfound energy because they spite you. But it's mostly just now they have time to think about what they're doing wrong. And you don't want to give them that time. If you're winning, keep winning. Don't give them an opportunity to come back or come up with any ideas to beat you. The main reason I'm going to use pauses is if my team has lost a round or several rounds in a row, usually for momentum reasons. I think the main reason to use pauses is to try to change the momentum in some way into your favor. So the first way I'm going to use a pause is to shift the momentum. A momentum shifter pause is what I like to call it. This is basically when my team clearly does not have the momentum in our favor. When we lose 4, 5 rounds in a row, it's time to regroup and start a roundtable discussion and try to understand what's going right for you and what's going wrong for you. And identifying what's right for you is just as important as identifying what's wrong with you guys. So let's say your executes are really working, but your default's not working. What you can try to do is shorten the time on your default. Don't give them those opportunities to pick you in the default and just go into your execute faster, or be more grouped up during your default. Change your default in some kind of way. Or if your execute's working really well and your default's working, or your executes are not working and your default's working really well, what you might want to do is just kind of default harder. And that's kind of a little difficult to understand. Basically, you're just going to throw less grenades and kind of keep pushing your advantage further and further and further. Maybe the other team is really good at using counter grenades to stop your pushes once they see that your execute is coming over. But you're finding picks in the default. So you want to just keep pushing forward and keep working those picks, perhaps. And then just group up and kind of go somewhere without really that same hard exec you're maybe used to. Other things that you can talk about are map control, maybe your gun choices, maybe you want to double op or take out your op. You can do that. There's a lot of ways you can fix things, and you'll find out those as you pause and play more and more. But the second way I like to use pauses is something that I don't see many teams do, and this is what I like to call a momentum breaker. And a momentum breaker is usually when my team is ahead a certain amount of rounds. It's not when we're up 15-4 and they win one round and I pause. It's more if the game is kind of close, but we're in the lead, but I might feel a little shift in momentum. So this would be the score is 12-7 and we're ahead, and they win 2 rounds. So it's 12-9. We're still ahead. We're probably still playing pretty well, but I want to just make sure we are playing very well, because I don't want it to be 50-50 rounds all the way through. I want it to start identifying what they're doing that's working for them and just solve that. These don't have to have as much discussion, though, as the momentum shifter pauses. You sometimes can just take a breather here. If it's a lot of close rounds, you don't want them to feel like these clutches that they're winning are something they can consistently rely on. So you're just going to pause, tell your team to take a break, take a breather, stand up, sit down, maybe get a glass of water or something like that, wash their face, whatever, and just kind of refocus, focus back up. You guys are winning, you guys are doing well. Just break the other team's momentum in that pause. So now about just some general tips about pausing. I like to usually do it for momentum's sake. And when I do it for momentum's sake, what I do not want to do, and other people will pause differently than me, so there's no right or wrong answer about this, but what I prefer is to pause when I'm going to have a gun round next. I don't want to pause and have an eco round, because you might spend your pause gathering all this positive energy. You guys are feeling hyped. You want to get in there and own them. But if you have pistols, you're not really going to do that anyways. And you might just lose all that positive energy in that one round. And you were never going to win it anyways. So that pause didn't really accomplish much. So that's why when I say momentum shifter pauses should be maybe after 5 rounds, is because if you lose the first 3 rounds, that means you lose the pistol and the 2 anti-ecos that they had to play, where you just had pistols for the most part. And then you lose the first gun round, and then you also lose the subsequent anti-eco. And then you're on your second gun round, and you really want to win this round. If you lose your second gun round, you're going to feel really bad. So you definitely want to shift that momentum in your favor, or at least even it out a bit. That's more or less it, though. If you have any questions about pauses and when to use them, feel free to comment below. Hope to be coming out with more content in the future, guys. My season's done, so I'm going to keep coming up with more ideas and just use those pauses, okay? I feel like not enough teams use them when they need to. So just remember you have them. They're a great tool. They are underutilized in the amateur scene. Use your pauses, guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more content.